Hello, I'm Jenny and today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely and really cute and adorable little crybaby. So there he is. So I've redressed this one in a Santa outfit just for this demonstration. So my business name is Sweet Sugar Makes and I'm based in Selby in North Yorkshire. I have been learning sugarcraft for a really long time, so well over 35 years now. But I don't actually specialise in modelling. I do a little bit of everything because I've been teaching basically sugarcraft and other things full time for about the last 15 years. So I do wired flowers and royal icing as well when I get the opportunity of royal icing. And I've just started writing tutorials for Saracino, and I did demonstrate this little arrangement here at Cake International recently for them. So I'll just just show you some of these examples. So even though this is the one I'm demonstrating, so this one here is actually, because I've just changed his ear, so everything is the same, but it's actually a little elf with freckles, that one. So they're basically exactly the same, these two. It's just their ears have been changed, and of course their outfits. And then this one here, this one is crawling, this crybaby, and the hat's just pulled down, right, kind of nearly over its eyes. And then we've got different colours. So again, same babies, maybe slightly different proportions, but same positions. And there we've got one in pink as well. So they're all made from polystyrene balls, apart from the sleeping ones, which the bodies are just solid paste. But it's 2 polystyrene balls, but obviously you'll see as we go on. I'm pre-recording all the video, so I really hope I'll keep it as concise as I can, and I hope you'll stay with me till the end. Okay, so I'll see you soon. Hello, so welcome to the first part of creating little Santa baby, I've called him. So I've got 50 grams of Saracino here, so it's Saracino pasta model. So 50 grams of the skin tone that they do, so that's the pre-coloured, obviously it can be any skin tone you'd like. What I'm going to do first is just give it a little bit of a knead. So if you've never worked with Saracino before, what I'd say is try not to over knead it, because of the cocoa butter in it. It can become really soft. So it's just getting used to it. You can give it a little bit of a stretch as well. So it's quite cold today in the UK. So obviously it makes the paste much firmer when it's colder, and vice versa when it's hot. Then it can be too soft. So a little bit of a knead. And let's see, I'll just pop that there for now. So I'm going to enclose all the creases into the bottom, just push those together. You can, if you want to kind of cup your hand into that shape, then catch the paste in the centre of in the middle of your palm, and just press. So if you press at the base and sort of push the paste, it does get rid of all the creases. So it's a good little tip, that even though I'm going to wrap this, sometimes it's good, yeah, a lot of you will know it's really good to start with smooth paste anyway, with no cracks in it. So you'll need plenty of corn flour, so you definitely cannot over corn flour Saracino. It will just take loads and loads of corn flour and it will never affect its consistency, so that's brilliant. If you don't you need the corn flour because of the fibres, so if it becomes sticky it will start to pick up fibres. So just be aware and don't be frightened of the corn flour. So I have done some step-by-steps for this, so if you do see them, if you see the step-by-step images, I've done them all on this board. So this piece, and each square is 1 centimetre. I know some of you will probably have these boards, but this piece here, it's about, just checking it on there, but it's about a 7 centimetre diameter, and it's 1 centimetre thick. That's on, and I've got it so they're both smooth, so I'm just checking, but obviously I want the smoothest side to the front. So pop that to one side, and then I've got a 4cm egg here, so I've already polystyrene egg, so I've already made about a 1cm hole with this cocktail stick. You can use a wooden skewer if you want, because you'll see me use this later on when I start just shaping the head and supporting the head, but I don't push it too far in, so just in a centimetre. And then I always do the paste and then do the egg, so not the egg, the ball with Trex, so white vegetable fat quite a bit. If you do this before, if you think, well, why am I doing it this way around, why didn't I grease the ball first, it's because if you're not familiar with working with polystyrene, polystyrene absorbs Trex, which you would never believe it, but it actually does. So I've got quite a lot on there, all over. And then what I'm going to do is just pop that back in for now. Just put it, that dummy, and then just give my hands a wipe. And then take your piece, egg in the, sorry, excuse me if I keep calling it an egg, it's because I work with eggs so much as well. With polystyrene eggs I get mixed up. So take your ball, pop it into the centre, and then start bringing up the edges. So the marvellous thing about Saracino, one of its other wonderful qualities, is it sort of stretches without cracking. And obviously it never forms a skin, it just seizes as it dries. So what I'm going to do, and don't worry about if you get too much Trex on the Saracino, because again it won't affect it, it just absorbs in, so don't worry. So in the centre, and then I'm going to start pushing the edges up. So these edges will be slightly thinner, so I always, when I'm wrapping polystyrene balls and eggs, I always make sure that the paste is smaller than the ball or the egg. If you make it really big and wrap it, then it will have loads of creases, and then they can be really hard to get out. So, and I also want it, so this is the underside of the head, so I want the paste thinner down at this base and thicker obviously at the top. So it's just turning and pushing, little short motions. It will all look, it'll look a really weird shape at the moment. It'll look like a bit, depending on how you push, it could look a bit square on the edges there, but it's just that gradual little pushing, and it will go up. So as soon as it starts to get close, plenty of corn flour on. Just going to pop that board over there. So, and then even though I've got that much to cover, I am going to obviously leave the hole exposed. And then start using palm of the hands, both of them, so pressure now to start enclosing the paste around the ball. Cocktail stick or your skewer, just to check, so to check the angle. I know it's hard when you're kind of looking down at what I'm doing, but you can hold it up and see how it's looking under the chin area there. Okay, so that's the first part. It is going actually to go this, I've got some corn flour in some pop socks there, so there's pop socks, so tights. So I've just filled that, believe it or not, that is that. So it's just full of corn flour. that one. So it's quite a big one, this, absolutely full, and then in that little shallow dish. And I just rest that in. But what I do normally is, because it releases a lot of corn flour, is when I'm working with them, I put a kitchen roll and then rest it in there. So that will stop the head getting distorted. So you've got that way, and then also later on you'll see me put it in the dummy. Let's make the little features in the face now. So popped it in the corn flour former there, and I've got a small, these are nail art dotting tools or mini ball tools. That's about 3mm, that little ball on the end there. And then because they're a baby, when I put the nose in, I'm going to mark it in less than halfway down. So you can use a ruler if you want to like guide your eye to help you. So the nose mark is going to be less than half the length of the head. And then the other little thing that sometimes I think does help, if you leave the cocktail stick in, I think it just helps to centralise everything, so it draws your eye, and then you can see that the head is straight, even though the simple little features, of course they have to be as accurate as possible, really, but because the cartoon, there can be a little variation, but you don't want them too off. So I'm going to pop the nose in first, so there, so just a little shallow indent there for that, always making sure it's nice and straight. And then the eyes, so I'll just show you this example here because this is much easier to see. So when I put this, so the smiley tool, when I put it in, I'm only going to I'm going to put most of the pressure on that corner and then just gently go around, so I'm not forcing them down or pressing them down. Because of the angle of this eye though, instead of coming in from this way, front ways on, I'm coming in from over the top, so pushing down like that and then over. So the trickiest part with this little face is getting these in the right place. So the easiest way probably to demonstrate is I'll try keep the little curves straight and kind of in line with the nose. So once you've got those two bottom marks in, the little top one is quite easy because you've already got the marks there. But it's the same technique again. Come in with the tool, put the corner of the tool in with a little bit of light pressure, and then release the pressure as you move the tool round. So this one first. So from this way, I'm keeping it, and I want to keep it quite close to the nose as well. The closer they are together, the cuter the look, because the heads are so big. So but this is something, if you've never ever done this before, you might just have to have a little practice. So I'm just going to come round more the little curve with that one. So that's the first one in there, and then I'm going to turn the head upside down and then come in again this way and in. So I'm just looking at the spacing of where the nose is, and I'm just going to double check that. I might just curve that because I can't get as close to it as what I would normally. I'm just have to be a little bit more cautious because if I have to do it again, I have to do it again, but I'll be doing it off camera. Okay, right, so rest it down and then come in, so the little tip of the tool in the corner, and then, so I've just put a little gentle mark in there with that one, and then I'm just checking it, and then I'm going to have to come back in. Just use that rolling action. That's it, I think I've got away with that. So you can put them back in but just gentle as you go. So try to open them up a little bit if you can. So what I mean is, like, keep the indent open, because of course we've got a 0 brush is going to go back in later on. There, this is actually number 1, but what I'd do if you squash them, you can put a little bit of Trex onto your brushes. A 0-1 is generally better, and then open them up, and then you've got a gap there to open up. You know, you've got a gap to put your dust in later. And then the other little 2 pieces there, again, I'm just trying to keep it straight. So I do tend to hold these up anyway, so when I would, you know, if I were doing them in real life, we'll say, and not demonstration. So, and that little top one, again, just a little bit of pressure, and then turning it. So I've done these in reverse, but I'm still turning them, you know, one way and the other way, just to get the angles right on them. That's it. That it's a little bit, the eyes are going a little bit that way, they're just on a little bit of a slant, but actually it doesn't matter, because it still looks cute. And we can also, if that happens to you, don't worry, because you can make another little hole next to there, and it can be repositioned, you know. So I'll talk to you about that later, but don't worry too much if it isn't absolutely perfect, because it doesn't really matter, because of how the heads are. So I'm just making that nose a bit more central, that indent. See? Having a look at it. So I'm going to take that out, because that's like distracting me now, but I can turn it now and hold it straight, and then I know that'll be good. I'll be able to position that right later on. And then the mouth, so this is just a 1 centimetre cutter, and then I'm going to put it nice and close to the nose. So I'm coming down sort of over the top of it, and then just going to use that rolling action just to create that downward little curve. There. So I've got a little downward curve coming, and then the same tool, the nail art dotting tool, so I'm going to have to pop it down now to press it. I'll just show you on this one is what I'm going to do with this tool is go in and initially just gently press down and make about possibly about a 5mm indent there, and then I'm going to go around and smooth it. So I might have to take it off the camera just a little moment, just because of the way I film. It's really hard, you know, to get my eyes to, I need to be really close because I've not got the best eyes in the world, even with glasses. So I've just started pressing in there gently, 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 and then it's that little motion all the way around to get the curve, and then the smooth and the smoothing action. There, so I'm smoothing now, so gentle as can be. That's it, so I'm happy with that. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of pink. I've got some water activated paint here, so you just mix it with a little bit of water, but you could use any edible paint. You could use dust, but I'll talk to you about dust because it'll probably go all on the outer edges, but I'll talk to you about that later on, how I sort of overcome that if you did want to use dust. So just a little bit of water in there, just mix this, and then I'm just going to get a 0 paintbrush, and then I'm going to paint in that mouth. So I only use, I don't use my good brushes for mixing. I always use like an inferior brush to mix paint, and then to save these tips. So and then just carefully. So there's no, unless unless you've got a fantastic brush and you're an amazing painter, it's probably you're gonna catch a little bit on the edges. It's gonna come over a little bit. So don't worry, just turn your head, because I'm gonna wipe this off. Anything that is comes over the outline, I'm gonna wipe it off with some baby wipes. So. And I've painted like in the bottom of the lip, so the whole of the indent that I made, that's all painted. That's it, like that. And then if you've got some little bits of pink that you can just see, so I just use, obviously they're all non-edible, my models, so I don't have to worry about using 100% food safe items. But these are quite, I know obviously I'm UK based, but these are from Tesco in the UK. They're pretty cheap, and they're just damp enough, they're not too wet, and also they're pretty non-fluffy. So they're really good at cleaning Saracino, any sugar. So just a little bit of pink there, just dab it. And then just with a dry finger, I just like blot it with a dry finger. But I wouldn't, because I've just done that, what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't put the lip on now. We're going to have the pet lip separately. So I'd let that dry. So depending on how big the area is, Saracino's normally dry within about 10 minutes. If you, obviously, how big the area is, and as long as you don't over wet it. But I always go back in with that dry fingertip. Red there, so I have pre-kneaded that one, and then it's just the same as how we did the head, just making it smaller than we need it. Flat, and then cocktail stick here, so I'm just going to cut this just less than half, and then use a scriber first to go in, so nice and central, and just about a centimetre again, so obviously not all the way to the bottom. Pop that in nice and straight, and that comes up just over a centimetre. And then obviously you can try your head. So those step by steps you'll see me putting the head back and forth. It's just when I go on to making the legs, you see, it's hard to make anything. You might feel the same as well if you can't see the overall picture. So I have to keep putting the head back on just to check that the shape's looking okay. So that looks fine. And then what I'm going to do is, even though, well, if you had a couple of farmers, you could always leave your head on the farmer, and as long as it's round at the back, it's absolutely fine to leave it there. But if you want the maps, if you've got a really lovely round shape and you don't want to distort it at all, just thread it onto a skewer or back onto a cocktail stick, and then pop it into a dummy. So that's where I'm going to secure that one. Oops. And because I need the farmer to get the the trim and the collar and the belt on this. So lay it on its side, and then I've got some pre-cut strips here. So for the fur trim, I've just used a strip. Onto the legs. So I've got two 5-gram balls there, 5 grams each, and then this is just kids craft foam. So I always use this to roll modelled pieces out, pieces that are shaped and rolled, rather than boards, because what happens with Saracino as well is because of the corn flour, it slips. But to be honest, I've always used some sort of non-stick material to roll on. So prior to using this, I used to use kitchen roll and J cloth. So anything that doesn't pick up fibres, and I just think it's a lot easier to roll pieces out. So you just have to pop your hand on to whatever you're working with. So these are going into tapered cone shapes. So I always get them exactly the same size if I can in front of me first with pairs. So 5 grams is way too big. It's just that I've got the excess to work with then. So I'm always better, well, I think you're always better to work slightly bigger, and then I always match them up like you can see me doing now. So I can see a little bit of variation in that one. You can use, if you've got a cake smoother as well, you can put a cake smoother on them, and that helps to keep things an even shape. So just a little bit of light pressure, and then it's just checking. So I'm just, this one's a little bit too wide. So just making it the same. So I want them to, these little babies have got really little tiny feet, so, and big kind of a big chunky upper thigh. So all I'm looking at is thickness. I'm not looking at length because one's longer than the other, but that doesn't matter at all because I'm going to trim them. And then I am going to use the polymer clay blade to trim them. So if you're not familiar with a polymer clay blade, they're absolutely brilliant because they will, when you cut down, they don't distort the paste. So if I was cutting with a craft knife, it's too small anyway really for this. But any other sort of blade, like the palette knife, the mini palette knife, it just moves the paste down. And because Saraceno is so firm, it will stay intact if you use polymer clay blades. So they're really, really, really great. Couldn't be without it. So I'm happy with that so far. And then to get the feet, or the little feet, just a little bit of a pinch. So finger and thumb right at the very end, and just pinch out a tiny little foot. You don't really have to do much more work with it. I know it hasn't got much of a heel, but I'm not worried about that. I just tap it down just gently, just a little bit, and that just refines that shape just on the base there. And then same with the other one. So a little pinch right at the very end. So I'm just getting hold of bare minimum paste there at the end, excuse me. And then just have a look at them together. You can look at them from that way as well. See that they're both the same size. And then getting them into position. So I've put the piece onto baking paper now, so it's always great to make your models on baking paper when you can. You know, it's just that thing of being able to move things and not handle things, which is really great. And then these, so I'm going to sit them similar to the other little model. I might put these a little bit further apart, just to give it a little bit of variation. And then initially, so I'm just going to put them together. And then, so they want to come round the body in a V shape. So join, oops, keep. I'll just put the marks in. So all that is going to come off, all that. And depending on where you put them, the angle might need adjusting. So it might need, generally it's better to cut it more acute rather than cut it really, really sharp, you know, and low down, and then you haven't got enough leg left to trim it. So it's better to do it longer as well, and then trim it if you're not used to doing these techniques. And then with the polymer clay blade, just straight down. So right and left. I think I might have gone a little bit acute with that one, but this one here, back into position, trim a bit off, and then the pieces that I'm going to join, so I'll just neaten these up a little bit. Just have to fold that bit over, that ain't quite right. And there, you can have just a little play with how far you want them, so they can come much further apart, as you can see that one. if I move them down, I could even put them together. That looks quite sweet when you join them together like that. Actually, I might, because I like that, and it fits well. That angle fits well there actually. So I might just leave that one, yeah. So that saves me having to sort of retrim. So once you're happy with the angle and how they're fitting, then definitely get some glue on them this time. So just one at a time. And then you just press them on gently, and then it's a good idea, you can pick them up and smooth them on the base there. That's it. And then if you don't like what's going on at the side here, when you look down, just use a flat-ended brush and just use it to push the paste in. That's it. And then they do have a little bit of fur trim, so with this one I'm lucky because I've done it like that. I'll be able to fit a strip across, so I can do that next. I'm just adjusting it just a little bit, that leg. Just get my trim. And then a little bit of Trex on the hand again, and then it's going to go, just paint a little bit. Oh, this time I'm painting. I know I showed you to paint on the Trex, but because I know exactly where it's going, this one, you can always paint on the area that it's going.